Welcome to the Level Up English podcast, the best place to come to practice the English language, learn about the British accent and culture, with me, your host, Michael Lavers. Hello, English learners, and welcome back to another bonus Saturday episode of the Level Up English podcast. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, or whatever day you're listening to this. I hope it is going very well. And if you want to know why I'm making an episode on Saturday, then I recommend you go to episode 177, which was my first Saturday episode. And you can check it out and see a little bit more about why I'm making this change and why I'm making an episode on a different day than normal, in addition to the Wednesday episode. But yeah, not much has changed. I'm still doing well since Wednesday. And I've got an interesting topic today about things that make us angry, things that cheese us off, right? Which is a nice way of saying something a bit worse, right? Which I try to keep this podcast family friendly. But yeah, if you're really irritated and angered by something, then I'm going to kind of cover that in the podcast today. So don't forget that just like any other episode, if you want a bit of extra help in understanding and following me, you can gain access to the podcast transcripts by becoming a member at levelupenglish.school and then click on the members button. So when you do this, you can watch me or listen to me on the podcast and you can see a live transcript. So as I'm speaking, the words will highlight themselves. And it takes a lot of time to do these, which is why they are behind the membership. It's a lot of effort. I make sure that all of the words are correct, the punctuation, the grammar. I make sure it's all correct before I post it. And it does take a long, long time, but I know that people find it helpful, so I'm happy to continue doing it. So that is there at Level Up English members if you're interested. And if not, that's also fine. Appreciate you listening. Let's get into the topic today. So as I mentioned in the last Saturday episode, I am thinking about doing some reactions on the weekend. Weekend reactions? I wonder if there's some good name in there somewhere, some alliteration. I'm really bad at thinking of names, but if you think of a good name for this episode, then let me know. So this Reddit post is called, the language they use is a bit harsher, but I'm going to say, what makes you angry the most in today's world? And I thought I would talk about some of the comments that other people had on what made them angry. Maybe I can talk about my own experiences with these things, possibly why we feel that way, why people feel angry, and maybe even some solutions to their anger as well. So a lot of really good ones here. I'm going to start and get into it right now. The first top comment says, the fact that a lot of us genuinely agree on some of the same stuff, but due to miscommunication, we are at each other's throats. Good expression here. Thank you, Linnick35, for this expression. So if you're at each other's throats, imagine like an animal attacking your throat, trying to kill you, basically. It just means like really, really being violent and aggressive against someone. So it's like, whoa, why are you at my throat for? Calm down. It's not a big deal. And I think this person makes a really good point that I think on many occasions we actually do agree. People have the same opinions about things, but because we're not communicating clearly, we're not really sure about what we're saying, we find that we get mad at each other. And yeah, that kind of... So someone else commented here saying they think it's less about miscommunication and more that there are people who make money off people, focusing on one side of the argument. They make money from that. So money can fuel a lot of this hatred and stuff. And I think this is kind of a shame, because I do agree that so often we're very similar. You know, wherever you go around the world, people want similar things. We have similar opinions. And even if you look at kind of opposite sides of the political scale, people often want similar things. They want to have money. They want to be happy and healthy. It's just their method of doing that is a little bit different, right? But I think usually it's the same. So it's kind of a shame that people can't see that. I'm trying to think about my own experience to make it a bit more interesting as well. But I think I'm not great at communicating my opinion sometimes and avoiding misunderstandings. But one thing I'm trying to do a lot more is, rather than reacting strongly to something, like, how can he think that? What an idiot. How can he say that? Thinking more kind of like, interesting. Well, that's not the opinion that I have. But then again, I'm not the smartest person ever. Come to think of it, I don't really know much about this topic. You know, who am I to talk about whatever, climate change or whatever topic I'm talking about, science? You know, I know a few things about it, but I'm far from an expert. So maybe this person does have a point. Or even if I think they don't have a point, you know, they got to their own opinion through their own experience and education. So yeah, I don't know everything. I'm trying much more to have that reaction to these things. It's very difficult not to react with anger or disgust. But I think little things like that can really make a big positive difference in the world, right? Yeah. Well, another one down here. Someone here is talking about rental, lease, and subscription culture. This is interesting. So to rent is the verb, rental is the noun, lease can be a noun or a verb. If you lease something, it's the same as renting, really. We often use it for different things. And subscription, where you subscribe on a regular basis to something. So they continue. The fact that we are being conditioned to rent rather than own. We rent our movies, our music, our house, our cars, phones. Literally anything and everything can be rented. This is the biggest trap the younger generation faces, because if they stop paying, they will have nothing. That's a really interesting point, that if you stop paying, you will have nothing. I haven't really considered that aspect before. I think this is an area where my friends and I disagree, because I really like this kind of subscription. Well, I dislike the subscription culture in some ways. The fact that, you know, every let's say streaming service wants a subscription. So you're paying for like 10 subscriptions for Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and all these different things. And I think it can get a bit too much. But on the other hand, I really enjoy the rental thing, because it means that, for me anyway, I'm not burdened by having all these DVDs and all these books and all these CDs and all that kind of stuff. And I can just have it in a digital space much more easily. However, I don't really do much renting, I would say. For music, I don't like Spotify. I don't like any of these services. I just download as MP3s, the old-fashioned way. Movies, I don't really watch many movies. My phone, I'll always buy my phone. I don't like to have the phone payment every month. I just buy it. I own it completely. Same with a car, you know. So I'm not a big fan of doing that kind of stuff, really. But I do really enjoy how you don't have to own things anymore. If you don't have certain things, it's fine, because you can rent it these days. It's so much easier to do. And I think it allows people to access things they couldn't before. One thing I love is renting scooters or bicycles in big cities. Recently, when I went to Estonia, we traveled a lot by electric scooter. And of course, I'm not going to buy an electric scooter in Estonia. That would be silly. But it's amazing that you don't have to own this thing, but you can just pay €2 and you can use your scooter across the city. I did it to the airport. We went from our accommodation to the airport on an electric scooter. It took maybe about an hour or something, but it was really fun journey. Taxi would have been cheaper, ironically, but not as fun, right? And I kind of like the access we have to things now. And there are even services if you want to use like a chainsaw or some big tool that you don't use on a regular basis. You can rent it from someone who owns it and give it back to them when you're done. I kind of like that. I think it's nice. I think it's nice that we're not so attached to possessions anymore. But I know people will disagree. So if you're one of those people, let me know. Give me your counter argument. Even if you're really angry, the only thing you have to do is do it in your best English possible. That is your challenge. Any hate mail you guys send me is fine as long as it's in your good English. Someone else is talking here about social media. That makes them angry. Another one here is someone commented and said, people that do not pick up their dog mess. Mess is a nice way to say poo, right? Poop. People that don't pick up their dog mess, or dog doo-doo, you could say as well. Lots of words for this thing, this mess. And this infuriates me, which means it makes me really angry, really cheeses me off. Because it's so common, I see it all the time in the UK. People just don't do it. Where I'm staying right now in the UK, I go for a walk and it's all over the path. I have to have my eyes to the floor constantly if I want to keep my shoes clean. And it's really such a shame that people just don't have the respect for their neighbours. And I think how it often goes is like if one person leaves the mess, then other people think, oh, if this person left it, then I can leave it too. It's no big deal. But it just makes the environment so much more disgusting. Whenever I'm walking in the countryside or through the woods, I'm always a bit nervous about where I'm walking. And it's really such a shame. So that's one thing that I totally agree with, that it really cheeses me off, right? Someone here had an interesting point. They said, how the internet has made so many people so much dumber, so much more stupid. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think the internet has made people more stupid? Maybe it has. I do think that people... one person said here that it just gave dumb people a voice. There were idiots all along. That could be true. These kind of people that seem to be a bit less intelligent and they're shouting about their views in a really idiotic way, we could say. Maybe they were always here, but now the internet has allowed them to have a platform, right? Maybe I'm one of them. Oh no. What if I'm one of them? What if I'm one of the idiots shouting on my platform? But it is true that I would never have a platform if it weren't for the internet. So that is interesting to think about. But yeah, I do think that the internet has allowed people to grow an audience quite easily, honestly. And people share things and people cling to people's teachings online. The thing that is a little bit irritating to me is... irritating is not the right word. I'm not that much of an angry person. But the thing that I find a bit cringy, cringy is where you look at something and it's like, ugh, it's a bit awkward. You feel a bit awkward about it. This is when you see people doing TikTok videos in public. I see it a lot and it makes me like shiver. I also feel a deep sense of gratitude that I didn't have TikTok or a phone when I was younger. Because if I had a phone when I was younger, actually, I should even use the correct grammar. Let's do a proper third conditional sentence. If I had a phone when I was younger, I would have really embarrassed myself. I would have uploaded videos and pictures that I'm sure today I would regret. So, yeah, let me know in the comments. If you had had a phone when you were younger, what do you think you would have done? Probably not something good. But yeah, I sometimes see like girls dancing, doing the TikTok dances, and I have to just walk awkwardly in the background. And it's very awkward, very awkward. It doesn't irritate me, but I wonder if they're going to grow up and regret what they did. This one kind of makes me quite sad, and I imagine many people can relate to this as well. This one is someone who says 40-hour work weeks, but still cannot afford anything. Yeah, it's a really sad one, but I think a lot of people struggle with that now, don't they? That prices are going up, things are becoming more expensive. It's a big problem here in England. I wonder how it is in your country. But yeah, you might have a full week of work, 40 hours, you're working every day, and yet still you can afford rent, bills, food, and not much more than that. And it's so sad that that's the case with so many people. And you know, what else can they do? If that's their income, they can cut back a bit, they can try to get a promotion, but they really are stuck, and it's such a sad situation. And of course, I know other countries, it can be even worse, where the income just isn't really enough to support you. And yeah, it's very, very sad. Not much more to say on that really, but it's a very irritating thing. I kind of prefer the ones that are less sad and more like funny. That might be better for a podcast, right? How about one more? Let's finish on one more that really, really cheeses me off. And this one is the way people walk in public places. Like, how can you not pay attention to what's happening around you? This is very, very annoying, where people are just walking, they're totally unaware of their surroundings. But honestly, the one that infuriates me the most is people on their phones. This is one of my skills. I don't really use my phone much in public, but when I do, I think I'm pretty good. Like, if I'm in a busy place, I would just be typing, but I won't really look at my phone. I'll be mostly looking where I'm walking. So I will never walk into people because I'm still totally focused on where I'm walking. And, you know, I'm pretty good at typing without looking as well. But some people, especially, you know, older people, maybe people a bit older than me, perhaps, who are less good with technology, they'll just be like on their phone, not looking up at all. And then they're just kind of walking left and right, swaying and swerving across the path. And it really makes me angry. I have to be honest. When people are kind of walking into me and I have to move out the way, or they push my shoulder or something, and I just kind of want to shout at them, like, if you can't look while you're walking, then don't use your phone, you know? And if that's one of you guys out there, I better not see you in public. Come on. But that's one thing that infuriates me a little bit. I have to be honest. And there's a lot of other great comments on this subreddit post. Again, this is from, it's from a different one. This is from a very popular subreddit called AskReddit. AskReddit. Really recommend that one as well. So this is not so much about the UK, just a general thing that annoys people. If you like these kind of episodes and want to see more, let me know in the comments or send me an email. However you want to get in touch, I'd love to hear your feedback, and we will see if I can do more. But let me just end here, as I normally do, with 2 reviews and then a quote. So a couple less common countries today. One from the Netherlands, from Dozy Dale. Dozy Dale. Dozy means sleepy, or a bit lazy maybe. But yeah, Sleepy Dale, who says, Michael has the ability to speak very clearly and calmly. He is a very, very good teacher and podcaster. That's so nice. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. One more from Nora505 in Uruguay, who said, "Hello, Michael, I like your podcast. It helps me to improve my English level. I waited every Wednesday to hear a new episode. Level Up English is my favourite podcast. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much. That's so kind. Hopefully now with these bonus episodes on Saturday, you won't have to wait so long, hopefully. The quote I want to share today is from someone called Nipsey Hussle. Haven't heard of them. But there's a picture of me overlooking the ruins of the 1980 Moscow Olympic sailing structure in Estonia. And I'm kind of looking over the graffiti. There's lots of steps here. I mean, that's the idea. There's lots of steps on this structure. So I found a quote that included some steps. And the quote says, "Sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to take 10 steps forward." It may seem like you're losing progress, but in fact you are making progress. So next time you feel like you're kind of going back somehow in life, keep this in mind that you may actually be about to take your next leap forward. But okay, I guess I'll leave it here. So thank you ever so much for watching. Remember, if you like it, you can subscribe to this podcast so you will never miss an episode. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts. You can email me at info@ewmichael.com and say hi. And you can listen and enjoy if you don't want to do anything. Thanks so much again. I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now. Thank you everyone so much for listening to this episode today. I really hope you're enjoying my podcast. Remember, you can become a member at levelupenglish.school. Over there you can join me for regular group classes, podcast transcripts, a private podcast, and much, much more. So join the community at levelupenglish.school and click on the members button. Also, if you want to ask a question for me to answer on this podcast, you can go to levelupenglish.school/podcast. And there you can ask me an audio or written question, and I will do my best to answer in a future episode of the podcast. But for now, thank you for listening.